4 ways to prove triangle congruence: side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. And hopefully you've seen that in class or the notes.
Yeah, that was thankfully right up on the board.
All right, so let's start with side, side, side. Okay, so I'll give you kind of a basic example of each, and then kind of the one you might see on an assignment here. What is that there? So for side, 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 your basic example here is all. Sorry, I didn't mean for all the stuff needs to be. Okay, so for side, 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 your basic example is triangle ABC, triangle DEF. Okay, and you have to start with a first side. So it's like AB is congruent to DE. Pretty straightforward. BC is congruent to EF. These are given, by the way. And then lastly, AC is congruent to DF. And perhaps more importantly than the SSS is being able to write the triangle congruence. So the triangle congruence is that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, and the order matters.
No order matters. Yeah, that's another thing actually when I go over to is I don't understand how order works.
So think of it as a path. You want to go from A to B, B to C, C to A. What is the corresponding path in the other triangle? Well, in the one I've made here, they're the same paths. Okay, so let me try it another way here. The following would be wrong. Okay, you cannot say that triangle. Let me scroll up just a little bit here. You cannot say that triangle ABC.
Oh, sorry. My like Wi-Fi just went down for like 15 or 20 seconds there.
Okay. Yeah, let me know. I might be having an issue on my end. Let me know if that problem continues.
No, it was fine. It was like my Wi-Fi was just going out.
Okay. So I was trying to show you
on the ABC, like a path thing was the last thing.
Yeah, it's a path. It's like, imagine you want to walk around this triangle ABC, and then you want to walk around this other triangle DEF. And you're making the same path. So the letters correspond to that sort of path or that trajectory: A to B, B to C, C back to A. So it's literally like A to B, little arrow, B to C, and then C back to A. And that corresponds to D going to E, E going to F, F coming back to D.
All right, yeah, same. And
I was trying to imply here that order matters, and by giving you an example that's completely wrong, and showing you that it's wrong. So let's say it was a triangle EDF.
Oh, then
on the right here,
going the opposite direction.
Well, more than that, I'm starting in the wrong place, and so this one's wrong. And I don't want to emphasize it too much, but the reason you write the triangle congruence like this, and I don't know if you've gotten this far in the class yet, but you can write 3 congruent statements for the angles.
3 congruent statements
for the angles, or from angles, or 4 angles. I don't know, we'll say 4 angles. And they have to match those. So it's like angle A is congruent to angle D. And see how A comes first and then D comes first?
Yeah.
Now I'm doing that just from the letters, but if I go back to the picture, see how A is congruent to D? Like it's the intersection vertex of the single and the triple, the single and the triple. So that's consistent. Now we can also say that angle B is congruent to angle
E.
Yeah, and it's because of where it is. It's order, it's second letter. And if we go back to the picture, is B the same as E? Well, B is the single and then the double, the single and then the double.
All right.
Yeah. So that's not too bad. Okay. And then lastly, angle C is congruent to angle F.
Angle C is congruent to angle F. Right, yeah.
All right, so those are the 3 congruent statements for the angles. You can similarly, I need to make a little more room here. You can similarly do that for the sides. For the sides.
Mhm.
We're not talking about Thanksgiving sides, although I wish we were. Those are really good.
Yeah.
But
I need some
got,
cranberry sauce.
yeah, back to reality. Peanut butter and jelly and whatever, cold. Okay, so the sides, so check this out. A to B, right? A to B corresponds to D to E. Well, look at where those letters are. See how A and B are paired together and D and E are paired together?
Yeah.
So your congruent statement comes from this triangle. So it's AB is congruent to DE.
AB is congruent to D.
And notice they're paired right next to each other. And order matters, right? It is not true. It is not true that AB is congruent to ED.
Mhm.
The order really does matter here. That's the whole point of this course. So now B and C are next to each other, and so are E and F. So we can say BC is congruent to EF. Now let's go back to the picture. Is B to C the same as E to F? Yeah, because the B is like the end of the single and then it goes down the double. E is the end of the single and it goes down the double. So yeah, those are right. And
All right,
then
awesome.
lastly, like I was trying to show you here in this, it's sort of like a path. C comes back to A. So you can say CA is congruent to FD.
CA is congruent to FD. Okay. All right.
See how so letter C leads back to A and F leads back to D.
Yeah. So then,
go ahead.
are those all considered just like given in a sense, or
If the
that's
triangle
just
is
method?
congruent, if the triangles are congruent, all of that is true.
Okay.
But what I was trying to show
HD.
you is you can get all this from the triangle congruent statement and the
Uh-huh.
triangle, but more from the statement. Okay, so
Yeah, I didn't
let's just
realize
try
that.
let's try an example. Yeah, well, they don't really tell you. But let's say triangle M N. No, I'm sorry, I'm using bad letters here. XYZ is congruent to triangle ABC.
Perfect.
Okay, without they're just congruent. We don't know why. It could be any of the four that we mentioned. But you as a student need to be able to write the 3 angle congruent statements and the 3 side congruent statements. And it's just like we did before. It's angle X is congruent to angle A because they're the first letter.
Yeah. And then angle Y is congruent to angle B. And
Good.
then angle C is congruent to angle C.
Yes. Now the only place this could get kind of a little wonky is like if they want you to use 3 letters to refer to the angle. We'll maybe address that if we need to. Now the sides here, it's a path. It's like X to Y goes with A to B. Segment XY is congruent to AB.
X to
You
Y.
just follow them in order.
Huh, all right. So then X to Y is, oh, right. X to Y is the same as AB.
Yes.
Y to Z is the same as A to B.
No, Y to Z is the same as B to C.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, maybe
Mispronunciation.
yeah.
I meant that other way.
And then like Z comes back around to X and C comes back around
back
to
A.
Yeah.
So then ZX is CA. Okay, all right, that doesn't seem too tricky.
Okay, now there's just a tiny little wrinkle here to show you, which is that in the line segments, it's kind of like the angles, but the line segments, you can go in a different order. Okay, so like imagine going, actually, let me bring this down here. It doesn't affect the angles, but it does affect the line segments. Actually, let's just leave it right there. So in the path here that you can take, you can actually go the other direction. You can actually go from X to Z.
Mm-hmm.
So we would say X to Z is congruent
With
A to C. Now, is that the same as this last one?
It is not.
Yeah, the order really matters. Like, you can't just say ZX is congruent to AC. You'd have to say that like it's reflexive and then it's true by transitive or something like that. But like, this might be one of those things to ask your teacher, because if they're not this picky, then I wouldn't emphasize it. I'm only going to emphasize it here. But you can then keep going back. You can go Z to Y. So you're moving left now.
Z to Y. Yeah.
You're back in Hebrew, or is it Hebrew school? Where you guys learn some of that stuff? You going the wrong, the wrong way relative to us English.
Yeah, wait, I think Hebrew, yeah, Hebrews backwards are, is it Yiddish? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, something. It's like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. So, and then you go Y to X, congruent to B to A. They're basically the same, but with the order, with the letters flipped in all of them.
Yeah. X, B, A, C. All right. I like the first one
Okay.
more, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I do too, but I'll show you, we'll talk about how so let's look at another SSS triangle. Okay. But this time it's not going to be the way you want it to be, even though it might look the same. A, B, C, D, E, F. So we'll go that, double line, triple line, triple line. So these are congruent.
Mhm.
They're congruent because all three sides are the same, even though it's not drawn to scale.
Yeah.
When you write the triangle congruence statement here, the order matters. So you have to decide, like, and maybe you're like, hey, I like ABC.
Yeah.
I like a nice ABC path, but what it really is it's the vertex from the single and the triple. And
Mhm.
which vertex does that correspond to on the right?
That corresponds with E and F.
So only one letter. Like A corresponds to where the single and the triple intersect.
Um, D and D, F.
F, 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 F. Okay, so here's what I'm trying to show you. Let me do it with a different color here, because this is the key point. This one right here is this one over here.
Yeah. I was trying to like turn my head for it.
Yeah, don't do that. Just do you, yeah, that's gonna create problems. Now you go to B. You go to B. B is the single and the double.
Uh-huh.
So the
So then
intersection of the
that would
single.
be over there.
So the letter that comes next is D on the right.
All right. Yeah.
And since there's nothing left, it's E. But let's color code it here again.
Mhm.
So these are the congruence statement problems.
Okay. So then, all right. Yeah, I think I get that. It's just moved around or
But the
something.
like the order matters, because if you go if you say, oh, it's ABC is congruent to DEF, that's completely wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely not right. You have to figure out where like each spot matches up in order to continue it.
Exactly. Okay. So now let's do the next one here. Let's talk about SAS. And the way we're doing it right now is how it should have been presented to you in the classroom. So I'm sort of replicating what I think you would have gotten as a lecture.
All right. Thank you.
We will try to get to some problems, but this core understanding is very important here.
Yeah. It's the
Okay,
bottom
so
of the
here's
pyramid.
yeah, so here's side angle side. I'm just going to draw slightly different triangles here again. Okay. So this is what's really important, is the angle must be between the sides. The angle must be between the sides. It can't just be any old angle that you see. It has to be between the sides.
Okay.
So let's say that this side is congruent to this side, and this side is congruent to this side.
Mhm.
And now let me label the triangles A, B, C, D, E, F. What is the angle that must be congruent for these to be congruent? What is the
Um,
angle that's between the sides?
the angle by A and D.
So an angle is referred to as a single letter here.
B and E.
B
Or
and E. Yes. So B
would
has to be
A
congruent.
and would A and D work, or is it just B and
No,
E?
no, because the angle is not between the sides.
Mhm.
So
Oh yeah,
this is
you're right.
critical.
Yeah, actually, now that I
See,
look at that, that totally makes sense.
so that it's
Yeah,
not
because
between
that's
the
not
sides.
right.
So
Right?
now they could give that to you, but that doesn't help you.
Yeah, that would have been like an angle side, right?
There is no angle side. That's the one you're not allowed to say in
Oh,
class.
I didn't
Yeah,
say that.
yeah, yeah. There's some jokes you can make out of that for being sent to the principal for using the wrong congruence.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, but whatever. I don't care about that. But what I care about is like you need to know that SAS means the angle must be between the sides. Must be between the sides. All right.
Okay.
So can you tell me the triangle congruence statement for this one, or attempt to?
Um.
There's nothing wonky about this one. It's very
Oh yeah. A is congruent to D.
no,
B.
the triangle. Give me the triangle, the full triangles.
Oh. ABC is congruent to DEF.
Yes. Now, not to throw like a little loop at you here, but is it also true that triangle BCA is congruent to triangle EFD?
Yeah, it is congruent.
Yeah. So there's actually 6 ways you can write a triangle congruent.
Man, what options?
Yeah. Well, you could make your instructor upset if you choose one that's not what they want. Try to
Even
stick to
better yet,
the
just
kind of
do all
the
six.
yeah, yeah, if you have time. Okay, so the big deal here is the angle must be between the sides. Okay. And
Mhm.
just like we talked for, like that means that now that angle A is congruent to D, and B is congruent to E, and C is congruent to F, and all the sides are congruent, and so on and so on. Let's look at a more challenging SAS problem. Okay, so again, like you don't necessarily know that the triangles would be oriented, but it might be that this angle is congruent, or sorry, this, let me label these A, B, C, D, E, F. I'm just picking them arbitrarily here. So,
Um, B
I'm
or
sorry,
okay.
I got to label this. So here's the other one. This angle goes with this angle. So I'm sorry, the side goes with this side. Um,
Um, I guess I'd write A.
hang on a second. Which angle must be congruent to use SAS? What is the angle between the two sides?
Um, B and F.
Is B between,
Oh no
is
no.
angle B? It's got between the two sides. So which angle is between the two sides, Zach? That's what I'm asking you.
Oh, sorry. The my like thing froze up again. But I think the angle it's in between is A.
Okay, and what about over here on the other triangle?
It would be E. So we know
Yes.
that A is
So that
congruent
needs
to
to be
E.
that needs to be labeled, but I wasn't doing it to uh, I was just trying to get you to I don't want to say this, like pick the angle so you could see it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this works now. This is side angle side. So I want you to try to write the triangle congruent statement for me, please.
Um,
And I like to think of it as a path, maybe if you're like, oh, I'll
yeah.
start at the angle
All
and
right.
I'll go down the
Yeah.
single side. It's kind of like when you're
Um,
hiking, you want to figure out where to go.
yeah, yeah. All right. ABC is congruent to EFD.
Say that one more time.
ABC is congruent to EFD.
Very good. All right, fantastic. Okay, so Yeah, so we're kind of, this should go a little faster. The next one is angle, side, angle. Okay, and this time the side must be between the angles.
Side must be between the angles.
So here's A, B, C, D, E, F. And let's say that angle A is congruent to angle D, and angle C is congruent to angle F. To use ASA, this is the question for you, which side must be congruent to which side for that to happen? What is the side between the angles?
Has to be B and E.
Those are angles. B is an angle and E is an angle. I'm looking for the line segment.
Oh, sorry. Would it be possible to say there's a midpoint in this, or that's not given, so I
No,
can't
so,
say that?
so you're overcomplicating it. This side, AC, is congruent to DF. That's the side that's between the two angles.
Okay.
That's the side that's between the two angles. Because line segment AB is not between angle A and angle C.
Yeah, all right, yeah, I agree with that.
And EF over here, it's not between angle D and angle F. There's only one side between two angles, two consecutive angles.
All right,
Let me try to give you draw something else here that I think could be useful. It's a lot like the transversal stuff. You got to really dig in here. So angle, side, angle. Do you see how the side is between the two angles?
Yes.
And then if I write side down here, what's between the two sides?
Angle.
Like there's a path here. There's like a going this way.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another angle over here on the right and another side. Okay, so for SSS, okay, it's the three sides. That's no big deal. Okay, but when it comes to side angle side, you only have certain paths that you could talk about. It's either that path, side angle side, or it's this side angle side up here, or it's the side angle side down here.
Okay. Side angle side.
So like, is it clear though that the SAS, like you can't just pick, like I can't pick that side over there and then that angle down there and then this other side over here. Like it has to be in an order.
Yeah. It does.
Okay. Because I want to do this again for angle, side angle.
Angle side angle.
So this time we'll do angle side angle.
Angle side angle.
Oops, let me go with that one. Okay, so this time again, like you have these paths that you can't just make them up. It's you start with an angle, a side, and then an angle. And then there's another possibility that it's this other angle, side angle, or perhaps it's the other angle, side angle.
Yeah,
But there's an order there that has to be the case. Now the last one is this one's the most complicated. No, I didn't want that. I want that. I want that. Okay. The last one is angle, angle, side. angle, angle, side. So this one, you're actually skipping a side. So I'll try to show that here. So let's say you start at the top. You have an angle. You skip the side. You go down to the other angle, and then you use that side. So you skip the side between the angles. And as I'm writing this, I'm thinking, wow, this is very confusing as a student learning this for the first time. I totally admit it.
It's all right. Angle.
And this one's used often. I mean, it's the tougher one to kind of
differentiate.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the other possibilities, I'm going to switch colors here. I hope that's okay.
Oh, good.
You could start with this angle down here. You would then skip that side, skip the side, go to the angle, and then go to another angle here.
So angle, side, angle, angle, side. Here, I just need a moment just to look at it real quick.
Yeah, it's really color dependent here. You're looking at the colors, not the.
So let's start there. Do you think you could make that like same triangle, but also with like ABC kind of labels and as well as the
Yeah, well,
angle
we
side
need to
stuff?
do some. Yeah, we need to do some problems though, and I think we're at that point where we're gonna hit this thing that you sent me, triangle congruence worksheet. We're gonna look at some of these now, which I think will be the best way to proceed.
All right.
So yes, I can do all that, but let's just see if, oh boy, that didn't go in the right spot. Let's take a look here. Now, one of the things that I did for you in explaining this is I separated all the triangles. And we really need to do that in these exercises. So like there's a triangle here and there's a triangle here and we're separating them. GFI, GIH. And then you label the stuff that you've got that's congruent. So again, just like what I'm doing is I'm just separating the two triangles and then I'm relabeling it.
In the two relabeling GG. Okay.
Now, the next thing you do is you try to determine, like, is there anything else that you can conclude that is congruent, meaning sides or angles?
I mean, I guess you could assume that G and I wait, yeah, G and I.
And G and I are congruent because they're the same.
Yeah.
Good.
And then that would
Good.
be a side angle side.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
That's
Perfect.
the whole point of this. Like the whole point of our first 30 minutes was to get you to be able to answer this question in 30 seconds.
All right. Yeah, I get that now. It's like wedged in between.
And you did it. You're like, all right, I got it. Okay, so let's try another one.
All right.
Now, I don't know if they separate these triangles when they're teaching them to you, but I feel really strongly that in geometry you have to separate the triangles because it just looks there's too much overlap to be able to make any decision. Now maybe this one is so obvious now that you're like, hey, come on, we can just move on here. But you know, you gotta, you crawl and then you stand up and then you walk, and so on. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, one more thing on the problem. This is important. We need to write the congruence statement. We need to write the congruence statement. So before we go to the next one here, and the order really matters. Go ahead.
FGI is equivalent to IGH.
So first of all, we want to say congruence, but that is not true. FGI is fine, but that means you're starting over here along the single line.
Yeah.
You need to
So it's
start over here on the single line.
right. HGI.
Yes.
I didn't think about that.
Small little thing, but there's your minus, 1 point or
Yeah.
minus 2 points for
Yeah. Failed the
this.
question. Boom.
Yeah. So order matters. Like when you ate food over the weekend, the order you went to got your turkey was you got maybe a slightly better piece than someone else.
Yeah.
you know, if you get first crack at the pie, maybe you get a little better piece of pie.
All right.
All right. So number 2 here. By the way, what's your favorite pie?
I got maybe apple or
Maybe
lemon
apple.
meringue.
Apple's a good choice. It's one of the healthier pies because you can literally just cut up the apples and bake it. You don't have to mix it in with a bunch of stuff, but
Oh
we
yeah, it's
usually
all
do. We usually put
tasty.
in the
Yeah.
caramel and the and the
Yeah,
sugar and
put
the
everything you can think of, you
apple
put it
ice,
on it.
vanilla ice cream. It's like everything.
You gotta make it unhealthy somehow.
Yes. All right. So what we did in this problem here, the second problem is again, my preference is to separate the two triangles. Okay.
Mhm.
And I think that's reasonable here. Now, when you label it, you're like, oh, there's two sides that are congruent, and you probably see that there's a third side congruent because they're the same. NP is congruent to itself. So this would be SSS.
SSS. Yeah, they're
Is
all
that
just
all the sides are congruent?
sides. All right,
Now,
let's not mess
this
this one up.
more importantly, yeah, is the triangle congruent statement. So take your time, pick a place that you like to start,
All right.
and you can switch your
NOP.
answer. NOP.
I'll go with NOP.
Okay.
And then NOP is congruent to NQP.
Yes. And you need the little triangle symbol, but that is
And the
that's
triangle
perfect.
symbol is just representing the fact that it's a triangle, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Side, so far the easiest.
Yes. All right. So here we go. This one gets a little harder. This one you do not have to separate because they're kind of already separated. I would not separate this one. It's whenever they share a side that I tend to separate them.
Yeah.
So you've got an angle and a side. So when you have an angle and a side like that, that means side is probably out. So yeah, so if you're not sure how to proceed, is there anything else here that appears to be congruent and then you have a reason for? It's not just good enough to say, yeah, they're congruent because they look congruent.
I
You have to
guess
give a
C to D and C to A.
no. Can't, even though they look, that's not a reason. Can't do that.
All right. B and
Here's
A
your
and
hint.
mini.
Here's your hint.
Vertical angle.
Are there any vertical angles in this problem?
Yes.
Are these angles congruent?
They are.
Why are they congruent?
Because they are the two same shapes hitting each other.
No, they're vertical angles. They're vertical angles.
Oh, right. I was thinking vertical for like up and down for some reason.
So vertical
Instead of
angles
like,
are wherever kind of two things come together like that, two line segments, and you get your vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so now you have an angle, a side, and an angle. Do you see that order, that progression? Angle, then a side, then an angle. The side is between the angles. Maybe your Wi-Fi dropped out. I'll hold here. Hey, Zach, are you back? Going, gone.
All right. Sorry about that. I just moved to another room, so my
Great. So what I was trying to get you to say or see is that there's a side between two angles.
Mhm.
There's a side between two angles. So it's an angle, a side, and then an angle. Angle, a side, and then an angle.
Angle, side, and an angle. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I thought my computer
I'm
was.
not, yeah, I'm not sure you follow this problem. I'm just trying to decide what to do next
Yeah,
to help here.
so I understand that there's like the B and the E, like this can be an angle and an angle. So am I looking at this as B as angle, and then there's the line going from B to C as the side, and then
Yes.
C is the angle?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I think I
Yes.
was trying to look at it as B is the angle, C, like where this points are all intersecting, is somehow the side, and then E was the
No.
other angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
then I can see how it's the same because it's like the B to C is the same as E to C
yes.
when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wasn't looking at the like full picture for that in a sense.
All right. So you got angle, side, angle, but the thing is that's only part of it. You've got to be able to write the congruence statement. Okay. And this one is the hardest one we've done because there's it's sort of a flip and a flip of the triangle. But what I again would tell you to do is start where you see like two angles are congruent and use that as your starting point. Like what I'm hinting at is B goes to E, B and E are the same.
Mhm.
And so, choose a path from B in this triangle and match it up with a path from E in this other triangle, whatever that may be.
Um, BAC
Okay.
congruent to EDC.
That is correct. Now, this is one of those where because it's kind of inverted and weird, like your instructor might ask you, what is segment AC congruent to? And you don't want to look at the picture anymore. You really want to look at just your congruent statement if you've done it right.
AC is congruent to DC.
Yes, very good. Now, the other thing they could do here, which is really super annoying, is they could go angle BC. Let's actually do it differently. BAC. What angle is that congruent to in the other triangle?
It is congruent to EDC.
Yes. Now,
BAC.
this is where you can actually leverage the order of the letters again. So
Mhm.
see how BAC went together and then EDC went together?
Yeah.
So if I was being more difficult, I was like, all right, well, how about triangle angle CBA? You could similarly just pair it up with CED. CBA is taking the last letter and then coming back in the front, and then CED is the other one. Rather than trying to focus on like where that is, C to B to A, oh, it's that angle, and then where do I start, so on. That's why this congruence is so powerful. It gives you everything else you need to write.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm starting to see kind of like the powers you can use along with the lettering with it, and also kind of like the importance you need to have for the proper order for all this stuff because it could
Yeah,
like really mess it up.
really, order really matters here. Okay, so we got two triangles here that are sharing a side, so that's where I would definitely break it apart. SRU, STU, and you label
Um, SR U is congruent to UTS.
Before you can do that though, you don't have enough right now. Like all you know is that angle
Oh, right. Yeah,
S
I need to get the sides.
is congruent to angle, this other angle S. And then this angle U down here is congruent to this other angle over here. That's not enough. That's just two angles.
Hmm. Um, I guess you would have to use. I guess you could assume R. No. Mm,
What side do they share?
they share the SJ side.
SU, yeah. So we can
Oh,
say that
sorry.
side. So we can say that side SU is congruent to that side SU.
But
Do you not like that?
I'm just looking at it. So if it's SU, then angle side angle, but I guess R doesn't have to be involved with the problem,
No,
right?
it doesn't. Nope. But you
Okay.
have to from this information, there's enough to decide which of the four congruence statements you're using.
Okay. So this would be angle side angle, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I'm just looking at the original part as well. Yeah, I guess because angle isn't a thing. So
No. Angle is for similarity.
okay.
Something about this doesn't like connect with you, and I'm not
Yeah,
sure what it is.
I don't know why like that one in specific isn't like making as much sense to me for some reason. Like I like now that I did it, like I understand it, but like before I don't think I would have gotten it.
Do you have a
Mm,
question, or you're just trying to stare at it until it makes some sense?
yeah, do you think I could do another one that's kind of similar to that one?
Let me see what the next one is. Otherwise, I'll have to make one up. Um, okay, yeah, I can give you another one here.
All right, thank you. Okay, so there's the ABC, and then the equivalent of that would be um DCB, and then
Yeah, that's right. But why?
with
What is the missing thing that's not shown here that needs to be shown?
there's not a there's not a line being shown,
There's
or a side not being
the
shown,
side, yeah. So the
and
side, you have to say
you
that that
and
side's
you'd have to
congruent.
be right there because that's the side they're connecting on it, so then it would be angle side to angle.
Yes, very good.
Okay. Yeah, I think now that I'm doing it like a second time after doing it the first time, like obviously this can be easier, but I don't know why this one's like significantly easier for some reason, just because I probably just did it, but um hmm. Okay. I guess it's not really like that difficult in a sense. Um, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm just waiting
Okay,
to see
sorry.
if I feel like there's a gap here. I don't know. I mean, we've done I believe not. It just I know we haven't gotten maybe to everything.
Yeah, it's
And
all good because that taught me more than or it taught me everything I needed to know
yeah,
for the angle
for now.
stuff, which is like the most
Let's look at
important.
one more. Yeah, let's look at one more here. Close out. We've done probably the equivalent of like 2 hour lectures in this 50-minute
Yeah, this
period.
I mean like this taught me so much more than like the
It's
teacher
it's
has
it's
taught me.
really
So
intense, but it's also a lot. So this one, hopefully you can see, if you break these apart, you got angle, 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 and angle.
and
And you've
then
got
I
and you've got
guess you
and you've got a side over here. Well, this one's actually doesn't work. Um, so even though these are congruent, you're skipping too many sides to get to this one. Actually, I'm sorry.
so
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm misspeaking. This is angle, angle side. Because you,
angle side.
yeah, because you've got an angle, and then a side. Like
Okay.
think of your path here as like this,
So
and
could
then
I say this one's possibly a side angle or no?
yeah, but it's not taught that way. So you will get some
Hmm.
backlash on that in the classroom.
Okay. All right. All
So
right.
I do apologize, Zach. I really enjoy our lessons. You're great to work with, but I've had so many lessons today, I just have to take this little break here.
Oh yeah,
But
of
I'm
course,
happy to
it's
help you
fine.
in again. Um, you know, please feel free to schedule, and we can keep going through this stuff
Yeah,
as
of
needed.
course. Thank you so much. You've taught me
Yeah,
a
send you those
lot
here
more
shortly.
than I
Yeah,
can
you're
be.
welcome, and all right. I'll see you next time.
All right, see you, Matthew.
Okay, bye now.